Canon finally did it. They built my dream camera. I've been wanting this particular camera with these specs for the longest time. The Canon C200 was the closest to that cinema camera. In fact, when I did my full review, and you guys can watch it, there will be a link down below, I talked about how the C200 was almost the perfect camera for me. And then the C500 Mark II comes out, and oh my gosh, I am like, literally, like pinch me right now, because that has been the camera that I've been wanting forever. Now let's go over some of the reasons why I will be upgrading from the Canon C200 to the C500. So a lot of the things that irked me about the C200, the C500 Mark II picks up, and it's just, again, it's just a dream. So one of them is full frame. Full frame is a dream on a cinema camera. So right now, as of filming this video today, if you want a full frame sensor on a cinema camera, now don't confuse it with a hybrid camera, because a lot of people are gonna say, Armando, the Panasonic is full frame. It's not a cinema camera, it's a hybrid camera. If you want a full frame on a cinema camera today, you'll have to spend a lot of money. You'll have to look into Red or something like the RAW, which are amazing cameras. I'm not taking anything away from them. So the fact that you can pick up a Canon C500 Mark II for under $20,000 is pretty amazing. Now, one thing that I've been doing right now is filming a lot with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been the person that I always tell people, don't worry about resolution. It's just, you know, it doesn't really matter. I've been spoiled. I've been filming a lot in 6K, and I can tell you right now, having the ability to reframe and move things around and create some fake sliding shots is just fantastic. So the fact that the C500 Mark II is gonna be a 5.9K sensor, I'm looking at future-proofing my stuff, so that's gonna be awesome. Something else that will be an upgrade from the C200 is the dynamic range. So Canon claims that the C500 Mark II will have 15 plus stops of dynamic range, which is very impressive. I've never really had a problem with the C200, and the fact that it does have built-in ND filters makes it a lot easier to film outside. So the fact that the Canon C500 is just gonna have a little bit more dynamic range is gonna be a welcome upgrade. Also, one more thing that is just really exciting for me is we do a lot of run and gun, and oftentimes I choose to film with lenses that have image stabilization, mainly because this doesn't have any in-body image stabilization. In fact, as far as I know, no other cinema camera, again, we're not talking about hybrid here, we're talking about full cinema cameras, do not have in-body image stabilization. So this is kind of a first. It's not in the sensor, it's electronically, and I'm okay with that because the Canon EOS R, which is the camera that I'm using right now to film this video, has something very similar, and it works actually really well compared to IBIS. IBIS, if you're filming on the GH5, works great, but sometimes you get that little wobble effect, and that's something that you really don't see with the EIS on the EOS R, and I'm imagining that you're spending all this money, it's gonna be pretty damn good. So for me, I would love to use some of my Cinema Prime lenses on a camera like the C500 and being able to turn on, you know, EIS to get a little bit extra stabilization. There is a little minor crop, and I'm okay with that, but also if you put it on a gimbal, it'll just be really smooth. So I really like that a lot. Now, something that really irked me about the C200, and I've talked about this, and it still irks me today, is the fact that you cannot film or record in 10-bit 422. I don't understand. This camera is not cheap by any means, and it should be able to do it, especially because there's a lot of hybrid cameras that can. You cannot film 10-bit. I was even okay if you could do it externally. Canon, because Canon, the way they are, they just don't allow it, and that really irked me. Well, the Canon C500, you are able to record 10-bit 422. See, oftentimes I don't always want to record in RAW. Like for example, right now, as I said earlier, I am filming with the Canon EOS R, and the Canon EOS R does a really good job filming in 10-bit. So I'm okay with that, especially right now. There's really nothing changing. The scene is what it is, and it's okay to film in 10-bit. I don't necessarily need to film in RAW, so having that ability in the C500 to record in 10-bit 422 is just something that I've been excited about, and just a welcome upgrade. Now, speaking of welcome upgrades, something I really like about the new Canon C500 Mark II is their new media. So they've converted everything over to CFast Express, which is gonna give you incredible transfer speeds. So you'll be able to transfer data much faster, and also you'll be able to record 5.9K in RAW. So that's something that I really like. And then also the modularity. So this is actually a big one for me. The C line or the C series line of Canon have always been great cameras in the sense that you literally can just pick them up. You buy these cameras, you pick them up, you put a battery, you put in a media card, and you can start recording right away. There's really nothing else that you really need to add, but the new C500 is modular in the sense that you can now attach and detach certain things. For example, the EVF on this in the C200, you can buy it two ways. You can buy the C200 without the EVF, or you can buy it with the EVF. So I chose to buy it with the EVF, and it's been handy. It's been very nice to have this. In fact, I've shot with the C200 without the EVF, and it's been a pain. But here's the thing, if I wanna fly this on a gimbal, I would literally need to take this to Canon and have them remove it, which now costs me money. Granted, I could technically do it myself. It's not too difficult, but I run the issue with maybe ruining the camera, voiding the warranty and stuff like that. So the new C500, everything is modular. So literally with just like a push of a button, I can remove the EVF, which is nice. So the same thing goes for the mount. So you can buy the C200 with an EF mount, or you can buy it with a PL mount. The C500 Mark II allows you to change the mount very easily. Now, granted, you can do that with C200, but once again, it's more time consuming. A lot of times it's better just to send it out, or if you know what you're doing, you can ruin things, but I probably wouldn't do it. The C500 makes it so easy because the mount is interchangeable. It's literally like 6 screws. You pop it off and now you can go from EF to PL, or you can also do a locking EF if you're using cinema glass. So those are other things that I find really nice, just because a lot of times I do want to use a PL lens, and oftentimes I decide to just rent a C200 with a PL mount because I don't want to convert mine and probably ruin the autofocus mechanism. So I'd rather just rent when it's a lot cheaper than me ruining my camera. So that's something I'm really excited about. So as I mentioned earlier, the C500 Mark II picks up where the C200 left off. So those little small quirks, like another thing that bothered me about the C200 is not being able to load my own LUT. It's a cinema camera, why can't I do that? So the C500 Mark II allows me to input my own LUT and I can view them like I normally would typically grade it on my computer. So I like that a lot. Something else that really irked me about this camera is I like to do a shoulder rig setup. Oftentimes I just like that look, or I like that movement. And with the C200, there's the exhaust fan right here. So even people were 3D printing a way to kind of relocate it, because as of right now, if you have this kind of shoulder mounted, this exhaust vent blows really hot air in your face. This camera is not one that I would recommend to use as a shoulder rig setup, mainly because of that. It's very annoying. So the C500 Mark II, what they've done is they've actually added this side as the intake, and they've relocated the exhaust to the other side, which is smart. So yeah, there's a lot of little small things that I really like, but also the big things. Again, the big sensor, the full frame, and to be honest, for the price, especially if you're doing professional work, it will definitely pay for itself. If you're trying to get a camera, and I'm not trying to convince you guys, I'm already getting the camera. If you're trying to get a camera, and really, if you're trying to get like an RALF type of camera, a cinema camera with full frame and getting all the bells and whistles, and on top of that, even more things like dual pixel autofocus, which I think is phenomenal on this camera. And there's a lot of times where I like to use dual pixel autofocus. So yeah, the C500 is the dream camera that I've been looking for. So that is the biggest reason why I will be upgrading from the C200 to the C500 Mark II. I am trying to get, I'm talking to Canon right now to hopefully get an early sneak preview. So hopefully they pull through on that. Canon, please let me borrow it for a couple of days and I can give you guys some test footage. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Thanks again for watching. You guys will catch me in the next one. Adios.